Default constraint. In this video, we will learn what is default constraint, how to use default constraint when creating table, how to use default constraint when alter table, and how to drop default constraint. What is default constraint? The default constraint is used to set a default value for a column. The default value will be added to all new records if no other value is specified. Let's see the syntax of default constraint. Here you can see the syntax of default constraint when creating a new table. Create table, table name, column name, data type, then default and then default values. So let's see how can we do this in SQL Server. So here I have already logged in into SQL Server. Let's open a query editor. Now here I will select my database student management, and here we will create a new table inside this student management and we will apply default constraint on that. So create table faculty name varchar 20, then qualification varchar 30, and then default, then value btick. Alright, but always remember, whenever you apply default constraint on any of the column, always make sure that particular column does not accept null values. So we will apply not null over here. Now select this and execute this. Command completed successfully. Come here and refresh this, and here you will find your faculty table, and inside this faculty in constraint you will find your default constraint for this qualification column. Now let's insert into faculty, and then if you want to set value in specific column, so in that case we have to write the name of column, values, and then here I passed Amit. Alright, now select this and execute this. One row affected. If you want to see the record, select star from faculty. Alright, so when you select this, btick, so the default value has been set it. Alright, so this is how you can set default value using query. Now if you want to add default value from here, so for that how can you do that? Here right click on table, and here we will create name and then location. Alright, varchar, and this is also varchar. So first I remove this null, and here you can find properties for the every column, and here you will find default value or binding. So here we will set default value for this particular column. So here I set Pune. Alright, now right click on this and then save table 1 and then save it. Alright, now come here and refresh this. So table 1 is created, and when you check on the constraint, your constraint is also created. Now insert data in this table 1. So here insert into table 1 name, values, right, and then select and insert. One row affected. Now if you want to see the result, select star from table 1. Now select this and execute this. So see, your default value has been set. So you can set the default value using SQL query and from the tool as well. Alright. Using default on alter table. So for that we have syntax alter table, table name, add constraint, constraint name, then default value, and for column name. Alright. So how can we do that? So here we have student data table, and inside this we have column course. So let's set default constraint for this course column. So alter table, then table name, student data, add constraint, then constraint name underscore course name, and then default. All right, and here we will set default course name, that is C, then column name, so for, and then course. All right, so alter table, table name, add constraint, and then constraint name. So when you give your name, system will not generate its own alphanumeric name, it will accept this name, and then default, then value for course name. Now select this and execute this. Command completed successfully. Come here on this table and then refresh this, and inside this constraint you will find your default constraint. So this is how you can add constraint on existing table. Alright. So if you want to set the default constraint from here, so for that what you will do, right click on your table, then come on design, and on any of the column where you want to add your default constraint, so select that column, and from here you can set the default value as we done at the time of creating table, and then save that table. Alright, like here I set C++. Alright, and then save it. Fine. Then if you come here and refresh your table in constraint, you will find your default constraint. Alright, so like this you can add default constraint from this tool directly. Alright, drop a default constraint. So alter table, and here you can see the syntax alter table, table name, drop constraint, and then constraint name. Alright, so let's see how can we drop constraint from SQL Server. So we just recently apply this default constraint on this course table. So how can we remove this? Alter table, course, drop constraint, and then constraint name. You can drag and drop this column name from here as well. So select this and then drag this over here, right, and then select this query and execute this. So command completed successfully. Now select your table and then refresh this. So see, your constraint has been dropped. So you just dropped your constraint using SQL query. You can remove it from here as well. So we also applied this default constraint on student data table as well. So inside this constraint we have def course name which we had created. So select this, right click on this, and then delete, right? So this will delete. Right, now select table and then refresh this. So in constraint you will not find your constraint now. So you can remove your default constraint using query and from this tool directly as well. So what we had learned in this tutorial, we had learned what is default constraint and how to apply default constraint while creating and altering table using SQL query and from directly SQL Server Management Studio tool. And we also learned how to drop default constraint using SQL query and from directly this Management Studio tool. Thank you.